सबसे मेन तो मुझे यही चीज सबसे पहले पता करनी थी, क्या कर रहा हूँ मिस्टेक,
Yeah.
या क्या मिस्टेक कर रहा हूँ, कितना पानी में हूँ ये जानने, क्योंकि ऑनेस्टली से जैसे मैंने बोला था कि मुझे 3 साढ़े 3 साल में मैंने फेस ही नहीं किया इंटरव्यू, तो ये मेरे लिए
Right. Right.
सबसे बड़ा ये था कि इंटरव्यू कैसे फेस करूं, क्योंकि व्हेन वी आर गेटिंग यूज्ड टू विद दैट, तो अपन
Hmm.
कंफर्टेबल हो जाते हैं चीजों के
Correct.
अंदर
Correct.
कि अब दे रहे हैं, बार बार अपन देते आ रहे हैं चीजों के अंदर। तो जैसे कि अब
Correct.
ये हुआ, तो ये चीज से कॉन्फिडेंस बढ़ा कि हाँ यार, मैं अपने कम्युनिकेशन पे काम और अच्छे से बेटर वैसे कर सकता हूँ, कि मैं जो फिलर्स डाल रहा हूँ या जो चीजें
Hmm.
अपने आप एक्सटेंसिवली हो रही है, वो मुझे
Thank you for
रोकना है।
joining in today's
तो आई विल
interview
फोकस
session.
ऑन
How are you doing today?
दैट। गुड मॉर्निंग शुभदीप, आई एम गुड। हाउ अबाउट यू?
I'm also doing great. Thank you for asking. So before we proceed, can you give a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, sure. First of all, Shubdev, thanks to give me this opportunity to express myself to you, and giving this opportunity to explore my things to you. So, I'm Chinmay Thargaonkar. I'm basically from Indore, and I'm working in the Medline Industries right now in the Tableau part. So, and uh, from the last 2019, I have 3.5 years uh, in the Tableau part. So I'm in the I have knowledge in the in the domain of supply chain management, and I have knowledge about the Tableau and other Tableau reader and all other things also. Uh, so yeah, I'm working uh, in the Medline Industries project right now. There is a logistics help desk scene. So in that particular project, we have to focus and we have to build the dashboards to how the company create a revenue, how it's much going on, and it's completely end-to-end process of the supply chain, what is the orders going on, and how it's finished of not, and about the employees matrices also, we are also focusing on that, and how things can we do in the better way. So we are looking into that. So that's my.
Okay. Right. So you are basically into the pharma domain, right? Healthcare.
Yeah, healthcare domain. Yeah.
Right. So as you mentioned that in the project, you are checking the revenue and everything. So
Yeah.
are you doing predictive analysis as well, or you are just working on the historical data?
Just historical data, not a predictive analysis. Just
Okay,
historical data.
so using the historical data, what all things have you done so far in your project?
Using historical data, we just kept the things from the revenue teams and what things they provide us in the data forms. So we just mold it out and form in the. There's a big volume about the revenue things. So we just collaborate with the data modeling team, and they provide us the data, and we just give the insights to the revenue team to them.
Revenue team to them. Okay, so the reports are completely based on the revenue model, or there are other reports as well. How many dashboards you have created so far?
I created 10 to 15 dashboards right now. It's not a completely a revenue based model thing. They just need to identify the how orders are going on, and they actually complete its end-to-end order processing thing. Because when the order ordered by any customer, and it came back to the warehouse things, so it's internal setup of the Medline team to how the order has been picked out and how it's going to end to the uh, that customer. So
Mhm.
is there any costing has been impacted, and how much has been cost getting by that particular product to the Medline? So we are basically on that particular thing. Yeah.
Okay, right. So can you explain the flow of the project in your organization? How you get the requirements, how it is distributed within the team? How many team members are there working as a Tableau developer? Can you explain this entire process?
Yeah, sure. So actually, there's a mostly which I have worked on in that particular project. That's internal level dashboards, which needed from that revenue team, the other help desk teams, or other domains team that needed on that. And the particular scene is that the teams has been contacted to us, and they just give us a brief to us that. They need this kind of dashboards, so we get the requirement gathering part to them, what things they wanted to explore on that dashboards, and what things they do not want, because that's very large volume in this kind of a help desk thing. That's a logistics help desk thing, because there's a large volume of data it comes. So just a giving example of that are the current project. So there's a logistics help desk, there's a lot of things in comes in the data part, right? Means that's a help desk, so the ticket creation, that particular ticket have been SLAs. So this kind of things they wanted to monitor by their end, because some of the resources has been worked to on that particular ticket to explore the
Those
how.
are basically the KPIs, right?
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not talking about the KPIs, that's a different part. I'm talking about the flow of the project. That means you mentioned something like the team gives brief.
Yeah.
How this briefing is done means how the work is distributed. Are you aware of it? Are you?
I'm not in that part, honestly. I'm in not that in that part, but our team leads and other managers have been discussed
Mhm.
with that, and they just connect with us after discussing uh, 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 with the client how they want to do these things, and after that they will share us that this kind of things needed or needed from the client, and what things you guys will do in this, what things you do explore, what. You are using the filters and you're using the other things, so how we will discuss that, and after that the distribution of work has been done in the within a team. So we right now we have five Tableau developers in our team right now, so we distribute that things in the small tasks within them.
Okay. So your manager basically decides and distributes the task. Are you aware how the priority and the complexity of the reports are maintained? How it is, how the story pointings are done? Are you following any kind of particular methodology in the team, like waterfall or agile?
Actually, first of all, earlier was it's a waterfall, but it's right now from the last month, and earlier that last month, the agile methodology has been introduced to us. So we are just also getting started with that. Also, we're getting habitual right now to the agile methodology.
Okay, so any particular project management tool or agile tool that you are maintaining?
So right now, the Jira, we are working on the Jira part. So we
So,
are,
so since you're working on Jira, you mentioned that your team manager gives you a brief. So
yeah.
how do you get the brief?
In our meetings that do the briefing things. So the task distribution, just earlier they just do that in the stand up, and they just give us the small brief how this resource work can work, and earlier just like earlier some resources work on the some part of like in the LODs or some other reasons that did not cover it or did not touch bases it, so they give us in that way, so that he can explore it and he can learn also, and he will drive by their way.
Okay, fine. So how many years of experience you mentioned you have on Tableau?
I have the professional experience is 3.5, but in the relevant experience, I have 3 years in the Tableau.
And what was the initial version of Tableau you had worked on? And what is the latest version you're working?
The earlier version which I worked on 2020 point 3 when I joined in the industry, and after that, right now the current version is going on 22.2. It is introduced right now in the second quarter.
So you're working on 2022.2?
No, right now not. It's under 2021. We are working right now.
2021 point what? Which one?
22.1. It's not so.
2022.1
One
version.
right. Yeah.
Okay. So are you aware of the latest features that has been introduced by Tableau in the version 2022.1, which were missing initially, which you might be using?
Mm, no, I don't have any idea.
No. Okay, fine.
Sorry.
Anyways, right. Talking about bringing out insights of the business, especially in your projects, the work that you were doing, I think there are lots of calculations that you are doing as well, right, in the healthcare domain.
Yeah.
So, can you describe any challenging situation you might have faced in building up any of the business logics, and how did you overcome that?
Yeah, sure. Because this is my first job in this healthcare domain, so there are a
Mhm.
lot of challenges I face because getting habitual with these things, getting out the things from the manager and the things how things getting worked in the industry level. Because we learn in the other end, but when we comes to the industry level, it is very tough to things. So on that time, so generally the way the how to things getting work, any tool getting habitual like Jira is not it's not introduced to me earlier, but it's right now getting Jira, so getting habitual. This kind of thing right now getting overcome. And the Tableau section, there's a lot of things has been learned and overcoming right that. So earlier, there's in the LOD expressions, there's other things when we do the use cases, that's completely different. But we comes on the industry level, that's a LOD level, which we put and which we came from the customer how to things getting put up. So that challenge has been happened because there's a different architecture in the different companies, right? So here there's a different tools they are also using. So
I'm not
getting that
talking
one.
about the tools. I'm talking about more of the Tableau side. Means Jira difficulty will be there initially, but Jira is not at all a difficult tool to learn.
Yeah,
Uh, on the Tableau part, as you mentioned, LODs, right?
yeah,
The concept of LOD will remain the same. It's
yeah,
how you put the business logics into LOD. That's your calculation or logical thinking that you would be doing.
yeah.
So, what challenge did you face in terms of LOD?
Because it's a healthcare industry, so how to on a particular field, how to we can apply the LODs. That's the thing which I faced because I did not that much of in
Mhm.
the architecture part how things is going on. So
Okay.
that's why I was getting faced this kind of things.
Okay, right. So let's talk about a LOD a little bit more. Can you tell me what is LOD?
Uh, LOD is the level of detail expression. Uh, which give in the more granularized level of data by which we can explore more things in the detailed part of any data.
Okay. Talking about granularity of any data means when will you use an LOD and when will you avoid to use an LOD?
um, when we need any data in the more precise way or in the
As
or
in, give an example.
in the brief way, just like mm, mm, so
Okay, not a
yeah,
problem.
yeah,
It's fine. Anyways, I believe you have, since you're working in the healthcare domain, you have extensively used filters and parameters, right?
yeah.
Because right. So, can you explain the limitation of parameter that we have in Tableau?
The multi-table multi-table thing which is not in the parameter thing. We can't do that.
What is multi-level?
Oh, sorry, multi-table
What
thing.
name? What is multi-table thing? What is that thing?
Sorry, multiple list. Sorry, multiple list. We by that because we can't pass more conditions and the more things in the parameters. So
Why we
because of-
can't?
mm,
And reason that you might have observed as a Tableau developer that why can't we pass multiple things or multiple values in the parameter? Can we pass it in filters?
no.
And filters as well. Then how we will pass multiple values? It is not there in Tableau then.
Mm, uh, sorry,
Okay.
I have to.
Not a problem. That's fine. Absolutely. So, can we explain the order of operations of filters in Tableau?
Yeah, actually, it's a first of all the extract filter which we used, extract filter, and then our data source filter, and
Mhm.
after that, it's our context filters. It's been context filters, and then dimensions filters, measure filters, and then it's table calculation filters.
Okay. Talking about order of operations, where does the LOD stand in this flow of filters?
On the measures filter part.
So LODs are there are multiple LODs, right?
Yeah.
Have you used all the 3 LODs that we have? Which
No,
LOD have you used the most?
fixed LOD, which I used.
Fixed LOD. And what are the other 2 LODs?
Include and fixed include.
Include and exclude.
Yeah, include.
These are the 2.
Yeah.
So do they have any particular order of operation as well? Like include will be somewhere, exclude will be somewhere else. Are you aware of it? If you're not, then it's fine. We can move on to the next.
No, not that much right now.
Okay, it's fine. So you were mentioning a lot many times that the volume of data is high. Volume of data is very high, right? So what is the volume of data, maximum volume of data you might have handled as a Tableau developer?
It's a 10 lakh.
10 lakh.
Yeah.
1 million, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you are connecting to a 1 million data set, okay, what is the first challenge have you faced when you made the connection?
The performance issue has been came. Actually, when we try to connect it, it's taking a lot of time to connect to the Tableau part. So it is taking too much time.
1 million won't take so much time, but okay, performance will only be means a performance issue will only come when you will create the workbook or you develop a dashboard and then you check the performance. When you connect, well, okay, so the data set has been connected properly, you have created the Tableau repository. So normally when you create your Tableau repository, so multiple tables are required to be brought into the canvas, right?
Yeah.
And then we make the connections.
Correct.
So what is the database you are using to connect?
Oracle database we are right now
Oracle
using.
Database, right. So how do you connect multiple tables? Do you go for blending, relationships, or joins?
We are using joins right now in our
Using joins.
joins.
So why you have not switched into relationships? Why still on joins when you are getting performance issue and you are using 2022.1 version?
Actually, it's not introduced to us right now to use that, but it's coming out right now in our project. So the relationship, yeah, I know that's a good thing right now to introduce a part of join. So we are also switching out right now to that. So
as a Tableau developer, are you aware of the difference between relationships and joins?
not that much, but right now I can say that in the relationships, as part of his name, we can relate to the data by the relationship, a part of the merging of data, which we used to do in the joins. So
okay, so what do we means in join? How, can you explain how it works when you connect multiple tables using joins? How Tableau works at the backend?
it's a query which is going on in the background in the Tableau. So
what is that join? By default, what is the join that gets created?
Inner join has been created.
Inner join is created.
Yeah.
Can you change inner join to other joins?
Sorry, can repeat again?
Can you change the inner join to any other join in Tableau?
Yeah.
If I don't want inner join, I want full join. Can it be done?
Yeah. As part of requirement, we can change it.
Okay. Okay, fine. Right. So let's talk about filters a bit on the extensive side. So let's talk about context filters because that is a very important filter, right?
Yeah.
Have you used context filters in any of your project?
Yeah, we use.
Right. Yeah. So when you use a context filter, can you tell me what happens at the architecture level or at the background? What does Tableau do?
Actually, the context filter is the most important filter because by that the precedence of the filter of that particular field has been came up, and it will act first in any filter, and after that the other filters has been acted by that filter. So So just like example, we need a data from the any reason part, and there are the filters also in there. So we will do the precedence to the reason level. We will make them context filter, and after that the other filters also work in that flow, because the context filter apply first, and after that the with them it will come to the other filters.
Okay, so when you are putting a filter into context,
Yeah.
what does Tableau do because of which the normal filters becomes dependent on the context filters? Do you know?
It's give the precedence to that particular field.
Yeah, it gives precedence, but see, for example, I'm putting 3 normal filters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So it is connecting to the database,
Yeah.
right? Whenever I'm creating a filter, it will communicate with the database. But when I'm making out of these 3 filters, when I'm making one filter to as a context filter, then what will happen? Will it still communicate with the database, or how it will communicate? Means how does the other filter feel or act when one filter
It will connect within that particular worksheet, or means that a particular field, that means like in the reason part. So it will work on that particular reason thing on that particular field, and after that the other will revolve that particular filter with them.
Yeah, it's no, the answer is not very to the point, because Tableau cannot interact with the on a worksheet level, right? It will always interact with the database level.
Okay.
So Tableau won't understand that this is the field I will have to go and search. Based on the filter, something happens at the backend due to which then it communicates with that part. So it basically creates a temporary table. And based on the temporary table, the other filters communicate with that temporary table. So have you used multiple filters as context filters?
No, better not.
Right. Okay, fine. Okay, so have you used dual axis?
Yeah.
What is the why have you used that? Can you give an example how you have used it and why?
Dual axis give the more in a more precise way that in the data how much the two dimensions can work. We can check the comparison level, how the things is going on in that particular means any sales is going on up or downwards for the particular dimensions. So how things been going on the particular two axes, we can synchronize that axis, and we can just put it things that way.
Okay, have you used tree map or heat map in your project?
Yeah.
What is the difference between a tree map and a heat map?
So in the tree map, we will focus on the hierarchical basis things, because means a rectangle insights means a child parenting thing. We will focus on that. Means a rectangle insights in the rectangle, focus down things. And in the heat map, that's a color coding thing has been done in more precise way. So how the sales is going on, and how the profit is going on by that the highlighting that particular color in that such manner that it's a high profit, so it will getting more darker, and if it's the less profit, it is going in the other less shade.
Right. So you have mentioned that you communicate with the data modeling team, right? So you have a data, that means the data that you are getting is a clean data from the data modeling team, and you are working on the on creating the dashboards, right?
Yeah.
Suppose if you have connected to a data source, that means you have built in all the tables and everything. You have done all the relationship joins, whatever you wanted to do to create the Tableau repository. And now later, you might have faced this occasion that the data modeling team has come up with few challenges and mentioned that the data source is required to be replaced. Okay. And you change the data source. Have you ever, once you created the dashboard, have you ever changed the data source?
No, not yet. In my project, did not face these things.
Okay. then I think the data modeling team is doing a good job when data source is not getting
And the
changed.
most of all part, actually, the leads, the managers interact with them the mostly with the client part. So, mm,
Yeah, but
those
for example, suppose
things,
there are tables.
yeah,
There are a few
yeah,
fields in the tables, like, for example, employee ID, employee name, salary.
yeah,
And now the data modeling team has introduced another field within that same table, suppose say location.
yeah,
And that is required to be incorporated in the Tableau project that you are working. So you will have to pull that table, right?
right,
And do the analysis. Or if suppose employee ID has got changed to some different ID, suppose say only ID,
right.
then it will change all the means the it will your Tableau will throw errors, right? Because the data source has
Logic has
got
been
been
changed.
changed, and whatever calculations or calculated fields that you have used, all will actually break.
Yeah,
Have you
right.
faced this situation ever?
Not yet. Honestly
Not
saying,
yet,
not
right?
yet.
Okay, fine. Okay. So coming to creation of dashboards, what are your thoughts on that? How do you create the dashboard? Do you use a lot of floating containers, or how do you design the entire dashboard?
I use a lot of floating containers. Actually, it's more
Floating
preferred.
containers.
Yeah,
Okay. Floating containers is actually should not be used. It should be avoided whenever it is required. Only then we will use the floating containers, because there is a reason behind it. The reason is that when you use a lot of floating containers, your Tableau report will break, because based on the resolution, based on the screen size,
hmm,
the floating containers won't be optimized. So okay. So if you are using floating containers, then I'll suggest advise you that don't use it. Try to design your dashboard in a more tiled manner using the tile containers that we have, like horizontal, vertical containers.
yeah. I will explore that. Yeah, right.
Yeah, please
Yeah,
explore
yeah.
it. It will help you in your project. Okay. My final question will be the optimization of performance of Tableau dashboards.
Yeah.
What are the key points as a Tableau developer that you want to highlight? The first thing that you do whenever you find that my dashboard is not performing in the way it should, what is the first thing that you check?
Focus on filters. On means make the filters more context filters. By that, the improvement of the performance has been done in right
So
way.
there is a catch to it. Context filters definitely is there to improve the performance. But the point that you mentioned, more of context filters, that is once again affecting the performance, because as I mentioned, whenever you create a context filter, Tableau creates a temporary table, and
Yeah, right.
then the other filters communicate with that temporary table. If you create more context filters, that means more temporary tables will be created. That is gonna affect your performance once again. So we should avoid more number of context filters. So that might not be the point.
Okay.
Okay, any other point that you would suggest? Being a Tableau developer, you have 3 years of experience, you mentioned. So
Yeah.
what are your inputs? If someone have to come, if your report that you have created might be performing slow, the client has come up to you and asking you that, Chinmay, my report is not working like the way it was. What will you check at that time?
So I will check. We can switch it over to extract as compared to live. We can do that.
We can do that. Yes, extract connection is good. And then
Mm, that's what I know.
okay, only the
Yeah.
extract, right? So okay, so the reports that you have built, have you connected to live or extract connections the more?
More extract connections we work
More
on because
extract.
it's an internal thing, so we can have particular job thing to do on a certain time. So we will do that.
Okay, anyways. Okay, I have understood. So with this, we come to the end of today's interview. Do you have any question?
Um, yeah, I have certain questions. So how can we explore in the LODs part in a right way to do?
Yeah, I'll definitely give you a feedback of this entire interview. Okay, so that you also have the understanding exactly where you're going wrong. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll tell you. So let me just put up my screen. Right. So I have not extensively stretched this interview because I have understood that there are a lot of things that you need to work on. Okay. And I
Yeah.
think you have also understood that.
Yeah, I also understood that actually when you did not stress it, and yeah.
Right. Because there are few points that is very evident. So nothing, it's absolutely fine. So this is not a live interview. I'm glad that you are not facing a live interview.
Yeah.
Had you been facing a live interview, then obviously the result won't be in your favor. Okay. So it's better to understand now, work on these mistakes that you are doing,
Yeah.
and focus more and learn more in the right track. Once you have a track, then there won't be any problem to make this transition.
Yeah.
Okay. So 3 years of Tableau experience that you mentioned initially, right? It's a great good thing that you mentioned the 3 years Tableau experience.
Just give me 1 sec. Just give me 1 sec. Sorry to interrupt you.
No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do not have to make any notes. I'll send you the recording. You can check.
No. I'm not making notes actually. I'm just in the glare part, so that's why.
It's fine. It's fine. No problem. Right. So it's the positive start that you did is I think you have checked any one of my video. That thank you for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself. However, you stretched it a bit, which was not required because you mentioned the first point, then you again mentioned thank you for giving me the opportunity. So it should be a one-liner. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Chinmay. I hail from Nagpur or whatever. And then you can proceed with your introduction. That's fine. Okay, that's a good point that to start with. Coming to your introduction was not very, very strong. Okay, we need to work on our introduction because that is our selling point. And if we are not stronger at that, then definitely we are not going to make that impression that we want to create in the minds of the interview.
Right.
Okay. So another thing that I have heard a lot in this conversation that we had today, you mentioned something like I have worked on the Tableau part, other Tableau and all other things.
Yeah.
What you are doing, you are just beating around the bush. You're not coming to the point. You are giving full out of context points, which I don't want to hear. I want to know more about the Tableau work that you have done, more technical terminologies that is required to be mentioned during the interview, which is absolutely missing. You are just trying to play smart with your words, like about revenue things. I mentioned I've noted down few points about Tableau and all other things, these kinds of things, lot of things. So what are these things? In one question, I asked you, what is that thing?
Actually, that's a bad habit which has been learned. I agree with you. Actually, it's become the more fillers part has been lot of the things has been becoming a bad habit actually.
Right.
And
you need to work on that.
Yeah, and the repeating the things also getting in that trouble.
Repeated things is fine, but when I'm talking about, suppose if you ask me, Deep, what is your experience? My experience is in the healthcare domain. Over there, I have worked on many stuffs. I have faced many challenging situations, like in the LOD things are there, which were very complicated. Then I worked on the things and got that right. What is that thing? You are not pointing out, giving examples, or putting it in my eyes that these are the challenges that I faced.
Not a technical
3 years Tableau experience. It's a lot of experience. Because in one project you learn many things in Tableau.
Correct.
And these are the areas where many candidates are actually missing. Every day, the interviews that I'm taking for my organization as well, most of the guys are talking in that fashion. And because of that reason, the selection rate is very less. Because they are just beating around the bush. They're not coming to the point exactly what are the things. You need to come up with examples. That is missing. Okay. You need to come up with examples. Even if you have not worked on that, then also you need to do your homework in that manner that, yes, LOD, this is my example, filters, this is my example, calculated fields, these are my examples. You need to prepare some for the interview. Okay, you cannot randomly go for interview. It will be difficult for you to crack. Okay.